kids of Elm Street don't know it yet, but something is coming to get them.
There's something out there, isn't there?
We just see cuts happen.
What did that, Lieutenant?
I don't know.
What's the coroner got to say? He's in the jar and puking since he saw it.
They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy? There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
She's the only one who can stop it. If she fails,
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
no one will survive. From Wes Craven, director of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Hello, welcome to Movie Humpers. My name is Bob Sham.
My name is Angela.
And we are at the end of our first week of Halloween Humpfest. 5 days a week. Every weekday, all October long, is a horror movie discussion. Bookended with 2 6-pack episodes. George Romero, and we'll be finishing the Halloween franchise on Halloween. And each day is a different, specific theme. And on Fridays, we're calling it Friday Night Fiends. Yes, just getting straight into the monsters, the creeps. And today, we're talking about America's favorite pedophile. You know, actually, if you had to pick a pedophile, if you had to, it's gotta be Freddy, because he's fictional.
Yeah.
No kids were molested. No kids actually died. So at least. But I mean, I guess America's real favorite pedophile is like Michael Jackson or something.
Yeah, I've never understood. I love horror movies, and I can appreciate a good bad guy. What I don't understand is people then latching on to just that character as something they want to tattoo upon their body or have artwork of in their home. Now, we have a Nightmare on Elm Street poster. Nancy is the one that's most prominent on the poster.
Yeah, it's a great poster.
She's our final girl. It's a great poster. But I don't love Freddy Krueger because he's bad.
Well, I think the Freddy fandom probably peaked in the 80s and 90s in terms of people having posters on their wall. Other than that, like, I don't really see people dressing up as Freddy except around Halloween, and I think that's fine.
Dressing up is one thing, but there are people who
are obsessed with horror that...
Yeah, and you're obsessed with horror, so you'll get a tattoo of someone like Freddy Krueger on your body. You're getting a tattoo of a fictional pedophile, murderer, child murderer on your body. And I don't understand the disconnect there. It's one thing to love the franchise. It's another thing to want a picture of that person on your body.
What movie monster would you get tattooed on your body?
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Wow. Well, there's some things you probably don't know about her. One, Holocaust denier. And get this. This is weird too. Another thing about her, devout Zionist.
Stop it.
Just 2 things you cannot contend with. Yeah, we're talking about the film A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, directed by Wes Craven. A lot of these movie monster franchise guys, we stick in 6-pack episodes. But the Freddy kills are so fun. Let's just do those one at a time over years.
They deserve much larger conversations.
Freddy's so creative. That's why they get him tattooed on their bodies, right? They just like his creative energy. It's written by Wes Craven, starring Robert Englund. John Saxon, who plays the cop daddy, often plays cops.
A lot of eyeliner on that guy.
Heather Langenkamp, that's our final girl. That's
Nancy.
And Johnny Depp, a young Johnny Depp, one of his first roles. I think this was before 21 Jump Street. amongst others. Cinematography by Jacques Heitken. And yes, this movie cost $1.1 million budget, made $57 million.
Of course it did.
1.1 million, it does seem, even for the time, seems pretty low. It really looked like Wes Craven was very creative with that money.
The effects in this movie are so fucking good. The creativity of the kills, truly.
It's a very creative movie.
Even now, you don't see kills this inventive and fresh and new as were in this movie. One of my favorite, also tiny parts that is an effect is when she asks Freddy, "Who are you?" And he just slices his side and a bunch of maggots start falling out. There's just these little things that it's not necessary, but it just needs to be thrown in for the gross out factor.
And this is also a slasher we're getting that at the time is unlike any other slasher, where he's just toying with people. He has an extremely dark sense of humor, and he's just a guy, like, he comes out and he's smiling and he's like fucking with you.
He has these arms like he's a clown.
Oh, that scene where the Tina dream where his arms are extending out, that's fucking great. Mm-hmm. I really have no complaints whatsoever for every kill moment that we get. But here on Elm Street, the kids, they ain't sleeping right. They're all having the same dream. We get, at the start of the movie, we see someone making a claws, a gloved hand claws. Who is that? Who's making that?
Fred Krueger.
Mr. Fred. Frederick Krueger. What's his middle name?
Are the little girls in the white dresses dead? Are they the ghosts of the children he murdered?
Oh, were
because
they?
They show up at the beginning and
dream.
At the end singing that song.
Yeah, maybe they were in a dream. So Nancy's got her buddies. She's got Tina, her oversexed boyfriend. Todd, and then you got
maybe
Johnny Depp's character. I can't remember his name.
Who he's super bummed out because of morality.
Morality sucks.
Yeah.
Nancy will not let him get in those pants.
There's at one point where Tina's boyfriend says, "Up yours with a twirling lawnmower."
There's 4 letters in my name, Rod. How could there be room on your joint for 4 letters?
Hey, up yours with a twirling lawnmower.
Nah, Rod's is the sweetest things.
Oh, he's nuts about you.
Nuts.
There's some amazing lines all over the place in this movie. But yeah, they're having the same creepy dream, and it just seems a little odd that everyone's dreaming the same thing. And they seem very skeptical, but over time, as people start to die, they can't deny that, no, something is really wrong here. And let's talk about some of these kills when we're in here.
Yeah.
We get the Tina kill. Freddy confronts Nancy multiple times. There's one time where he does the tongue waggle thing.
In the phone.
He's a creepo pervert, right? And you know that a certain percentage of horror fans wish they were on the other end of that tongue. You know?
Ugh.
I'm going to get a Fred Krueger tattoo.
No.
On my back. While I'm catching devious back shots from you, you can stare at the Fred Krueger tattoo on my back. The part where he's like, with his tongue.
So gross. Tina's death is
awesome.
Please, God. This is God.
It is. It looks awesome.
Mm.
It's also one of the saddest because it's the first. She was already scared, but also her boyfriend is there, so they think he murdered her. And he's so freaked out that he runs, understandably, because they're going to think he murdered her.
But what is he seeing when Tina's getting clawed up in her dreams?
Thrashing under the blanket. He gets up, pulls the blanket off. She's thrashing alone. It did look like there were 2 people before he threw the blanket off. And then her body goes up the wall and across the ceiling. This movie is... Freddy Krueger is a poltergeist. He's not, but he makes things happen like that. Like, he can, like, move things around in your world.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looks like. It looks like she's possessed by a demon. He is. He has a hold of her.
Pretty much, I guess.
I guess. He's so evil that he couldn't really die. I don't know. If I saw what happened to Tina, I would think that she was possessed by a demon. If I saw that in real life.
And then she's getting ripped open and like she's soaked in blood.
He cuts her later described by her boyfriend as though there were 4 razors cutting her simultaneously. That's when Nancy knows it's the guy with the hand in my dreams.
And Nancy keeps encountering him in her dreams as well, but she manages to wake up just in time.
She burns her arm at one point. I love when she goes in later and she's holding that burn on her arm. She didn't get to this point, but I imagined her like sticking her finger in it or something. You know, she was ready to wake herself up if she had to.
You know, Nancy is a pretty amazing final girl. I mean, Laurie Strode being the classic one, but Laurie Strode, not until the new Halloween movies did Laurie go full commando.
Hell yeah, Nancy immediately is like, I'm gonna get this motherfucker.
By the end of the movie, Nancy's setting up traps and she's got a plan, right? She's pretty fucking cool.
He kills the boyfriend in prison by making it look like he hung himself.
Yeah, the guy who's the boyfriend of Tina, not Johnny Depp.
Right. Johnny Depp keeps denying that he's been having these dreams, but there are clever little moments where they'll say something about a red and green striped sweater and he'll kind of look, but then he'll pretend like he didn't notice. This movie also has genuinely funny moments in it, which is not just Freddy stuff. When he tries to call his mom to say he's staying by the airport and he's got this tape of an airplane and it starts fucking up. It's just funny, especially how much the girls are making fun of him. And it's just silly fun.
There is a lot of silly moments in this movie.
But that's what makes the horrifying moments more horrifying. I love it so much when a movie has all those levels.
I feel like a lot of movies, horror movies, especially getting into the 80s and 90s, are trying that and often fell miserably.
Yes, but this is an example of where it is done beautifully.
Especially when you get deep into these franchises like this one, right? She gets her boyfriend, Johnny Depp, whose character I keep forgetting, Glenn.
I was going to say, she yells his name a lot.
Classic name.
Think about a little baby named Glenn.
She's trying to bait and learn about this Fred Krueger in her dreams. So she has Glenn, like, try to stay awake. But yeah, he doesn't. She ends up setting an alarm, thankfully, and she manages to barely avoid getting killed. And Glenn's a fuckhead, so it's like, get out of here, Glenn.
She can't even trust Glenn. She learns in that moment that she has to do this completely on her own, or it's not going to get done.
Well, they're trying to explain to her, she's trying to explain to her parents what everyone's been going through. And then when they describe the details of this fellow, she has pulled his hat from the dream realm. So she knows if she grabs something from Fred Krueger and wakes up, then she will hold the hat. This is like some interdimensional shit.
It is. And this is so dramatic, this mom, when she is hidden the hat and she just keeps telling her daughter, you've got to sleep, stop drinking coffee. She's taking coffee out of this girl's hand, out of her room. Nancy's got secret coffee everywhere and no-dose pills.
I love when she pulls the whole coffee pot out of
Already
the bottom.
hot.
Mom knows who Fred Krueger is.
Yeah, and Mom finally says to her, okay, I guess I need to tell you. I thought I was protecting you.
You want to know who Fred Krueger was? He was a filthy child murderer who killed at least 20 kids in the neighborhood. Kids we all knew. Oh, Mom. It drove us crazy when we didn't know who it was. But it was even worse after they caught him.
Well, Nancy doesn't fucking remember 20 kids going missing.
It seems like 20 kids being murdered by a guy would be something that would be remembered by the whole country.
Did they do this when they were parents or when they were teenagers or what? Like, there's no explanation on that. Regardless, they got this man into this boiler room, which is where the kids keep finding him, is in the boiler room when they go looking for him. And they set the whole place on fire with
something
gasoline.
like
and this is the part. She takes Nancy down to the basement. She is sitting in a wood-burning stove. She touches the gasoline edge when she says,
gasoline.
And then she opens the door and she reaches up into this
and
furnace and she pulls down. See, Nancy?
It's his
kept
glove.
his glove. He can't hurt you. It's over now. And she's holding up this glove. And Nancy's like, Mom, you're fucking ridiculous.
The pure creative vision of this movie definitely helps you to overlook some of the ridiculous moments.
It has that classic 80s thing of parents are stupid. So it's 80s horror tied with 80s teenagers know what the fuck is up and parents don't know shit.
Yeah. When we first meet Nancy's mom, she's presented as like someone who drinks a lot, but is also getting railed by some dude.
That's a different mom. That's Tina's mom.
Oh, Tina's mom.
Because Tina's mom comes in when she's screaming, and she's like, "Are you okay, honey?" And this guy,
Coming back to the sack. Hold your horses.
ostensibly gets out of the bed to walk into the doorway.
This
to
guy
say,
cannot wait.
"You coming back to the sack?"
This guy cannot wait like a few minutes for this mother to check on her daughter. I'm so horny. Poor Glenn, he bites the dust because he ends up falling asleep in his bed.
This is the most amazing.
And he knows he should stay awake, but it doesn't work. He gets sucked into the bed, and then like a gushing river fire hose of blood shoots out from a hole in the bed and douses the ceiling. Now
it blends him up.
Now, if you go deep into our feed, or specifically the SoundCloud feed, which you can look up, we have a Documenteers episode. I forget exactly what the documentary was called, about the making of all of these Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street movies. The documentary is almost 4 hours long.
I did not watch it.
It gets into all these details, and they made a spinning room, like a contraption. And we see this, and it's like this with the Tina scene too. You know that she's not really crawling on the ceiling. It's an effect where everything looks upside down.
Looks so good.
But it looks fucking awesome. And this is my favorite kill of the movie. Just the drama of it. And then you see the slow motion of the room just twist, and you see the blood flowing like to the side. And yeah, poor Glenn eats it.
Morality sucks.
And his mom walks in and sees the fountain of blood.
And Nancy's dad, who's the cop, who's played by John Saxon, she's across the street. She sees police over there. There's no body. It's just like he's liquefied.
At this point, everyone thinks Nancy is fucking crazy. And she calls the house and she tells her dad, "He's dead, isn't he? You have to come over here in 20 minutes. You have to come over in 20 minutes, and I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna go get the killer, and you're gonna have to be here to arrest him."
But he doesn't do any of that. Or did she dream that part, right?
No, I think she really did tell him that part, because then he put a cop to watch their house, that dumb cop. There's always a dumb cop that you put to watch.
After Glenn dies, Nancy's phone rings, and she picks it up, and it's Krueger on the phone. This is one of my favorite lines. He's like, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." The tongue comes out like, ah! Oh, it's great. Gotta love that pedophile. Gotta love him.
No. I also love that earlier in the movie, she has gotten a book about setting traps.
Yeah.
In this 20 minutes, she manages to get her mom to leave her alone and go to sleep. She sets a bunch of traps.
Her goal now is to fall asleep and pull Freddy into the real world.
She sets an alarm and gets on her pajamas. All of that in 10 minutes. Goes to sleep and finds him. And she does bring him back. Her alarm goes off and she brings him back. But her dad didn't believe her. So he's not there.
So he's running around in the house for a bit.
She's like breaking windows. She can't get out the window because her mom put bars on every fucking window.
Because of the Glenn stuff. Because he kept climbing the trellis.
That was dumb.
Well, Nancy's mom's a fucking drunk.
She thought she was making Nancy feel safer by putting the bars up.
Well, she manages to pull Freddy into the real world. It becomes unclear what is reality, what is a dream here. So when Nancy realizes that maybe she hasn't actually pulled, like that she might still be dreaming, she defeats Freddy by utilizing just the logical notion that she understands that she's in a dream. And with her hand on the doorknob of logic, she screams, "It's just a dream." And Fred Krueger goes, "No," and turns into stars and fades away. And that's it. That's it.
Well, then
it was all
she
a dream.
This is the dream part, I think, is that
it's all a dream.
Her mom is there and all of her friends are, because she says, "I want my mom back and I want my friends back." Yeah,
and mom is a good mom now, and the friends are in the convertible. They're all alive.
She's gonna stop drinking.
She gets in the car. The convertible hood comes up, and it's the colors of Freddy's sweater, and they're all trapped in the car, and something's going on. And a pretty infamous end scene. A clawed hand comes through the window on the door and yanks Nancy's mom through the door. "Freddy's still out there in your dreams."
It's really dumb to think that an entity that powerful is going to be completely killed by you saying, I don't believe in you anymore. I take away your power.
Well, yeah. I mean, what you should do, and I can't remember a lot of the other movies. Past 3, I remember 3 pretty well. Barely remember 2. And everything else is just a muddled mess. But it just seems like, if you realize you're in a dream, then you should be able to do a lot of the things that Freddy can do, right? You just manifest like some swords or something. Or, I don't know if they'll hurt Freddy, but I don't know. I'm sure they kind of unwrap that a little bit going deeper into the franchise. But that is A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, directed by Wes Craven. I think this is the only one of only a couple in the whole franchise that Wes Craven actually directed. And I think the other one he directed...
Yeah, we watched
Wes
that.
Craven's New Nightmare, which I haven't seen and I kind of want to see.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about.
Which is this kind of fourth wall reimagining.
Yeah, Robert Englund is in it playing himself.
Yeah.
And the character of Nancy, the real woman, is herself. And Freddy's kind of comes out of the movies, if I remember correctly.
And that one's actually supposed to be one of the best ones since this original one.
Oh, nice.
But this one is so much fun. It's so creative. And
groundbreaking.
Wes Craven's vision here is really cool, and Freddy was just right out the gate was just so defined and so different and so creepy. Even if I don't like a lot of the ones that come after this, I can see myself having a good time. But yes, 1 through 5 each, best out of 10, pretty awesome. I'm gonna give it a 4.25.
I'll give it a 4.75.
So that is 9. Nightmare on Elm Street by Wes Craven from 84 is a 9 out of 10. This movie does rank very high, and I think we are amongst the highest. Taking a look at it, A Nightmare on Elm Street tops are 9 out of 10 A tier, A plus by Wes Craven. It's above movies like A Woman Under the Influence by John Cassavetes and Anatomy of a Fall. You can pretty much watch all these on a fun afternoon. Back to back. So yes, we have breached the Freddy verse, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think it will take some time, but I think we will peck away at the franchise, not in a 6-pack, but over time. And I know that the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 has tons of gay subtext to it. That's a hint on when we might watch it next. When movies get gay again. Movies are always a little gay.
Movies are always gay.
They're always at least a little bit gay. You can't expect to revisit Freddy around that time. So check the show notes for links to other places to find us, and like and subscribe and leave a comment. Tell us what your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie is. Is Freddy your favorite pedophile, or do you prefer the ones that actually exist like Michael Jackson? So let me know. And let's get out of here.
Happy Halloween.
I never